Why do girls seek out male friendships? Well, growing up, I was surrounded by girls. Unfortunately, not in the good way. I was friend-zoned by all of them and got to sit there and watch as they dated every single other guy other than me. Which sucks, but silver linings, you got to get a closer insight into the mechanisms of female friendships and how girls worked. The big difference that most people don't see is that male friendships and female friendships are just so vastly different in interpersonal change of value. So what I mean by this is men bond together and they build each other up, and in a sense I could become more attractive to girls just by being friends with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, if I'm just broing out with Leo and we're having a good time drinking beers together, if a girl sees that, my value actually goes up in their eyes, that he, by proxy to me, has elevated my status, which has made me more attractive. So men don't have the same competitive conflict of interest by socializing with other men. We actually need each other. We used to hunt in tribes, and it was so much easier to do that if you had a group, you had a team, and we build each other up. So that leaves us with our friendships having a lot more to offer. The difficulty with female friendships is a lot of the time girls will see other girls as purely just competition. That if I'm a girl and I'm friends with Margot Robbie, I'm no more attractive to the opposite sex than if I'm just friends with Georgia down the street. It doesn't have that same impact, so there's no joint sharing of elevation for girls. Instead, if I'm friends with Margot Robbie, all that's going to happen is I'm going to be scared if I get a boyfriend, she might take her from me. That might not be true, you might be great friends, but girls are internally wired to understand that there is this kind of mate competition, and they don't really offer each other elevated status and elevated value in any way, which causes this huge conflict for girls. That maybe one thing they could do is look to the other side and look to guys. And this is a frequent strategy used, because if you find a guy, well, he's not going to be a threat, most likely, for stealing your boyfriend. So one of the things that makes girls go for that is it eliminates the competition element. Another reason, if a girl can lock down friendship with a man, she can get a lot of the benefits of a potential relationship with a man with giving away none of the commitment of her physical body. If she makes friends with a guy, maybe he'll provide resources for her, protection for her, emotional sort of stimulation of going and chilling, having a good time watching films together. And she can get a lot of the things that she would want out of a relationship that she would usually have to exchange maybe a physical intimacy for. She can get all of that without having to offer up anything of her own. So that's a huge deal for girls. Girls get a really good girls get a really good deal out of male-female relationships. And that's not to say that all male-female relationships that are purely platonic are a scam. I'm sure you can find ones that do have that kind of equal exchange, but largely, girls get the better side of the deal for that. They just simply do. Thirdly, and this is an option that happens for a lot of women, especially beautiful women, that because of that potential resentment that builds up, because you're more beautiful, and that fear that maybe if a charming guy comes along that she might beat me to him, well, that breeds a lot of resentment. And it is widely known that in a lot of female friendships, they will go through their entire life spending time with each other, even though they secretly detest each other. They don't like the other person at all. And this is really difficult, especially if you're a beautiful girl, to not really know where you stand with your female friends. So one of the decisions that they make is the idea that they would rather have a male friend who potentially loves her than a female friend that secretly hates her. And this is the situation a lot of girls find themselves in, that the male friends, because she's beautiful, often just secretly fall in love with her, and she has to make that difficult decision between who would you rather spend your time with this guy that's probably simping around for you but still offers quite a bit in exchange for not a lot other than the fact that you know he secretly likes you, or spend your time around a bunch of girls which you are well aware they bitch behind your back and they're not interested in who you really are, they just see you as a threat. In my life, I definitely operated as that guy who is secretly in love with all the girls he was friends with, and there's no real escaping that until you go cold turkey. I help guys with this now, that the best way to escape this is just to stop being friends with girls for a little while until you can develop yourself into a confident man that has that ability to have a friendship with a girl without seeing it as, oh my god, this girl is slightly close to me and she seems to think I'm friendly, I'm going to fall in love with her, which is just the pattern that so many guys fall into, that the girl that smiles at them once and is moderately chatty at the office, that's enough of a connection for a guy to just think, oh my god, I'm in love with her forever now. And if this speaks to you and this is a trap that you've fallen in yourself, there is no way out of this. Like, if you think you can just win her over by friendshipping her into loving you, it's never going to happen. And like a drug, you need a break from this, and you're not currently strong enough to be able to break this spell whilst you're still living in these worlds of female friendship. So I made an active decision when I was about 18, after I'd felt crushed again as another one of my female friends had gone off to someone that actually showed intent that he was interested in dating her, unlike me, who had just sat around trying to friendship his way into love. Well, I decided I just wasn't going to be friends with girls for a little while. I took a few years off, and that was one of the most powerful periods in my life for my developmental change. And that's what I recommend to everyone that can't seem to break out of that role as the male friend, that you just need to go cold turkey and then come back as a man that has some level of self-respect, that isn't just going to give away all of his time and all of his energy to a girl. If he wanted something more, fine, have the female friends. I have a couple now. It's great. Girls do genuinely offer something. And also, if you're not used to being around girls at all, maybe you've never even been friends with them, you've never had a girlfriend, then fair enough. Maybe being friends with girls is a minor stepping stone. It's like, if you've never had a girlfriend, never had female friends, the lesser of two evils there, if you can't get a girlfriend, is probably just to get some female friends, just because you need to have that ability to have an ease and comfort around them. Because one thing that did really help me growing up, being around all those girls, now I actually have an ease to be around girls because I don't see them as this magical other species. I just spent enough time with them just to see them as people. And this helps me no end chatting to them now and getting on really well with them, because it stops you putting them on a pedestal. As soon as you don't have too many interactions with a girl, you start to elevate them. They start to become this kind of mystic, mythical creature, and that will always come to bite you in the ass when you want to progress and turn things into a relationship. It does make logical sense for girls to have male friendships. There's too much value there for them not to take that avenue. But if you're the guy on the other side of that, and every single time you just feel like you're being used, you don't really want the friendship, you probably want something more, then the only real route out of that is just to sever the tie. Stop allowing yourself to be taken advantage of in these relationships, because it is your fault. This is not the girl holding you hostage in this relationship. You know you can be the masculine man that steps away, that isn't going to give up all of his time to a girl so she can feel good about herself whilst you continue to feel shitty. Girls will always seek out male friendships, but you don't need to be buried in female friendships.